So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Linda Young and I'm the Senior Manager for CAO Recruitment at TU Dublin. So on behalf of myself and my colleagues, I'm delighted to welcome you here. I'm here with Ralph Burbach. Ralph is the Head of School of Hospitality and Tourism, and I'm also here with Peter Griffin. Peter is one of our discipline leads in that area. So you'll hear from them a little bit later on in the presentation. And you'll also hear from some of our lovely students here at the university. We've 5 of the students joining us this evening, and they're going to tell us about their experience here at TU Dublin. We will open up for chat at the end. If you have any questions, please note them down as we go through the webinar, and we will open the chat functionality closer to the end. You can stick your questions in there and you can ask us. But we're going to get off to a start now, and I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to TU Dublin. As I said, this is our agenda. We'll do a presentation then on the area of hospitality, tourism, events and leisure. Then we'll hear from our students and we'll do a Q&A. So just to give you an overview of TU Dublin then, TU Dublin is Ireland's largest technological university, and we're offering programmes from apprenticeship to PhD. So we've a very wide offering at TU Dublin. We've about 3,500 staff members at the university, a very high staff to student ratio, which is really good for the student. About 27,000 students from 138 different nationalities and based across our 5 locations here in Dublin. So why would you choose TU Dublin then? So as I mentioned, we're the first technological university, but we're also the largest technological university in the country with 27,000 students. But while we're very large, we continue to retain the small class size. So that's quite unusual for such a large university. And again, that really benefits the student. We're very practice-based in what we do at TU Dublin, and we're offering, that practice opportunity across a wide range of our subjects, and you'll hear a little bit about that as we talk to our academic staff and our students here as we go through the presentation. We do have a long tradition of academic excellence and we're well respected by employers. TU Dublin is quite a new university, but it was founded, or the 3 founding colleges, DIT, IT Blanchardstown and IT Tala, were around for quite some time, and we'd be well known by our employers. We do offer a ladder of progression at TU Dublin, so students can come in at level 6, progress to level 7 and onwards to level 8, and that's unique to technological universities. And as it stands, being the only technological university in Dublin, it's only available in TU Dublin in the Dublin region. So that's another consideration. We also have a number of access admission schemes, the HERE scheme and the DARE scheme, but the TU Dublin Access scheme is available as well. And for those of you that may not have applied to the HERE scheme or the DARE scheme, just to let you know that the TU Dublin Access scheme is still open. So if you want to have a look at that. We also have a variety of scholarship opportunities open to new students. Most of our scholarship opportunities are post-entry scholarships. However, our elite athlete scholarship is pre-entry. So if you are an elite athlete and you want to study at TU Dublin, you should apply for that, and that is open now. So again, just more on why you would choose TU Dublin. We very conveniently located campuses. I suppose we don't really talk so much about how conveniently we are located because I suppose we just assume it. But just to let you know, we have 5 locations, very easy to get to by public transport. Blanchardstown campus, Tala campus, again, you can reach there at the Red Line, Angel Street, Bolton Street and Grange Gorman, all in the city centre. So we're less than 1 kilometre from the city centre in Bolton Street. It's about 1.5 kilometres to Grange Gorman, and the same with Angel Street in South Dublin. So we're really very central. We've huge choice and we're looking specifically at our hospitality, tourism, leisure and event programme today, but there's huge choice in the university. We're offering general entry in the area of engineering, business and science for students who perhaps don't know specifically what they want to do. We've quite unique courses in our Learn and Work programs, so they're something quite different. They're kind of apprenticeship style where you're out working in a block and then you're studying in a block. Multiple supports for students, and then work placement and study abroad opportunities. And you're going to hear from some of our students today about their work placement and study abroad opportunities, which is amazing. So just to highlight those locations again. And this is our ladder progression. So for anybody who's a little bit confused about that, for students studying their Leaving Cert at the moment, they are studying level 5, or if you're studying a QQI program at the moment, you are studying at level 5. The next step upwards then is to level 6, and you can come to TU Dublin, study at level 6 for 2 years and graduate with a higher certificate, or you can progress to level 7. So again, that's a 3-year program and you can graduate with an ordinary degree, or then you can progress to level 8 and graduate with an honours degree. And you can continue onwards after that to masters and PhD if you want to, but we're very much focused on the undergraduate offering today. So these are just some of our student supports. Guys, we're focusing very much on hospitality, tourism and events today, but I would say that we do have a whole bank of webinars, and if you want to find out about our student supports, there is one up there. All of our webinars can be found on the CAO hub. That's tudublin.ie/CAO. So if you want to have a look there. Our career guidance service, our free health centre, financial aid and accommodation services, our maths learning centre, our disability services for students with disabilities, our counselling service, and our academic writing service, to name but a few. These are just our broad discipline areas in the university. Just to give you an idea of what we offer at TU Dublin, these are subject areas just so that you can understand what's on offer. So you can look across there. There's about 12 different subject areas that you can study at TU Dublin. Just in terms of your experience in the university, we also have a lot of non-academic activity going on in the university. And we'll hear maybe from one or two of our students about that a little bit later as well. But again, we have a number of sports clubs that you can join. Yes, if you're an elite athlete, obviously you can play at a very high level, but we also have entry level as well. And a lot of students like to come and maybe just try something for the first time. So you can do that in our sports and leisure clubs, as well as in our societies. You know, sometimes sports may not be your thing, but there's just a flavour of some of our societies there. We do have a huge number of societies in TU Dublin. Again, you know, things like film, things like music, drama, all of those, as well as what we have showcased there. So just at the end of this, when we finish the webinar, you can look back at all of this on our dedicated CAO hub. All of the information is available there at tudublin.ie/CAO. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to talk to Ralph. Ralph, so you're going to give us a little bit of a brief on your area. So if you'd like to go ahead there. Thanks a million.
Absolutely. So you hopefully should be seeing my presentation now.
We have that, yeah.
Go into presentation mode. So that's wonderful. So thanks everybody for joining this evening. Hopefully you all have a wonderful evening, and hopefully you'll find out a lot more about hospitality, tourism, sports, leisure, event management today. We also have lots of students here with us also who'll be chipping in and answering hopefully some of your questions and all of that. So we're delighted that you could join us today. So without further ado, just we'll kick off. So just give a little bit of information about our school. I don't want to bore you too much, but just to let you know that our school has been around for an awful long time. And in fact, we started out in 1941 back in Carl Brewer Street, right in the city centre of Dublin. And then, of course, as Linda said, we moved up to Grange Gorman, where we have a wonderful campus now. We have 55 colleagues that are teaching on our various programs in our school. We have about 1,200 students. There's actually a lot of part-time learners, 300 of them. There's 40 master students, and then quite a number of doctoral students as well. We offer, as Linda already said, also in the school, we offer programs, 2-year programs, up to doctoral programs, which is the sort of the highest level of study, and everything in between, of course. Our school will be considered a center of excellence for hospitality, tourism, leisure, and event management education. We have lots and lots of partners across the world, and we're also the only member in Ireland of the Hotel Schools of Distinction, and we had to go through an accreditation process and all of that to get there. So just I want to just fill you in a little bit before we kick off with our programs itself, just to show you the huge volume of tourism and the value of tourism to the world economy. So some of these numbers are kind of mind-boggling, but I suppose I'd just throw them at you anyway. So tourism generates about 10.2 trillion euros annually. So that's a huge amount of money. There's about 1.4 billion international tourists traveling all over the world. The UN travel organization, they estimate that there's about 270 million people employed in the tourism industry. And in fact, 1 in 3 new jobs going forward will be in tourism. So that's a huge number. In Ireland, there is about 250,000 people employed in tourism, probably going up to 350,000 by 2030. It generates 6.2 billion revenues in Ireland. Currently, there is about 6.6 million people come to Ireland every year, and that number is increasing. So what I'm trying to tell you is that really the tourism, hospitality, events, sports, leisure sectors are a job seekers market. So our students essentially can choose where they want to work, how much they want to earn, what kind of jobs they want to do, and all of that. So it's a hugely attractive industry. Okay. So just to move on. So why would you want to study it? Well, it's a very international industry. You can, as I said, you can work anywhere in the world. It's a very entrepreneurial industry. Believe it or not, about 99% of all businesses in tourism and hospitality and events are very, very small companies with less than 25 employees. The skills you would learn on our programs are very portable, they're very flexible. Students can progress very, very rapidly. In fact, we had a guest speaker a student who is now a general manager of a very large Radisson hotel in Brussels, where the EU is based, and she only graduated 4 years ago. So you can see there's very, very rapid progression within the industry. And you pick up a lot of transferable skills, so skills, hospitality skills, customer service skills, that can be used in any industry. So even if you later in life don't end up working in tourism, hospitality, events, and sports and leisure industries, the skills and the things that you learn as part of our programs, you can use anywhere for any kind of activity, whatever you may wish to do in the future. The hospitality, tourism, leisure, event sectors are very exciting. They're very varied and sociable industries. So here's some of the pictures, big events, lovely hotels, working in sports events. All of these kind of things will be open to you as part of our programs. We work super close with the industry, and of course there's many different industry providers in whether it's hotels, restaurants, cruise liners, but also tourism attractions, visitor centers, many sports clubs or sports associations that work with us on a daily basis. But we work very closely with them. And the industry provides mentors to our students. They also come in as guest lecturers and talk to our students. They open their doors to our students to facilitate field trips. They often come and support us in the running of our operational modules that we offer on each of the programs, where students go out into the industry and they work for a couple hours a week just to get a feeling for the industry. And of course, all of our programs include a 6 months internship. So the students get to really experience what it's like to work in the industry. And those placements can be in Ireland or they can be abroad, so you can go anywhere in the world. And of course, we have very good support within the school, and we help all of the students on our programs to find a professional placement in the industry, which are paid as well. So, and in addition, the employers, many of the large employers offer graduate management opportunities. So they come in, recruit students on the various careers days, also in preparation of our internship. The employers come in and tell our students what it's like to work for the various different employers. So there's lots of touch points with the industry as part of our programs. Here's just some snapshots of our students going out on different field trips to, whether it's hotels, or you can see the wax museum there, or sightseeing tours, or visiting the Guinness storehouse. So there's many different field trips we do with our students on a very regular basis. Here is some examples that I'm throwing up there. So our students, if you're studying on a level 8 program, that's the 4-year programs, all of the students can go on an Erasmus exchange, which is a European exchange program. So we can study in pretty much any European country you may wish to go to. And we have partners there. Also, we have quite a number of partners abroad, whether it's in China, in the United States, and other parts of the world. We have study partners there where you can study for 1 semester. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to not only engage and learn about different cultures, but also to study abroad. So there's lots of opportunities there, as I mentioned. In terms of our, I suppose, very basic program structures, and I don't want to go too much into details of the various different types of modules which you might learn as part of the programs, but just to say that our 3-year and 4-year programs that have different foci. So whereas the 3-year programs are more operational in focus, the 4-year programs are more strategic. So, and that's then also mirrored as part of the different modules or different subjects that students would study as they move through the different programs. The internship, by the way, in the 4-year programs happens in the 3rd year, and for the 3-year programs, the internship occurs in the 2nd year, and it's always going to be in the 2nd semester of the program. Okay, now. So students can choose which perspectives that they want to take, whether it's more operational, whether it's more strategic, and based on that, you might choose where you want to be. Obviously, you may or may not know that we also have 2 campuses. So TU Dublin has 3 campuses, but our programs are spread across 2 campuses. So we have 2 programs on the Tala campus. I'll get to that in a minute. And the remainder of the programs, they're all based on the city campus. So you can also choose your location. But in addition, as part of the program, we can also choose different specializations. That's particularly true for the sports and leisure programs, where there's very different foci in terms of managing sports, or more on the fitness side of things and all of that. So it is quite unique in that. So all of the different programs we offer, they all offer different options in the leisure part of the program, where you can tailor to some degree the kind of things that you may wish to do, which might also be then aligned with the kind of things you want to do after you finish the programs, and in terms of if you want to study a master's program and so forth. Okay, so just to give you some examples here in terms of the progression, I know Linda already outlined in terms of how it's working moving into a level 6, 7, or 8 program. But just to give you an example here, so we in the school, we have an international hospitality tourism management honors degree program based on the Tala campus. But once you complete that, you can go on to any master's program. We have 3 master's programs in the school, but indeed you could join any other business related master's program in TU Dublin or anywhere else in the world. Of course, all our programs are recognized all over the world. We also offer a BSc in International Hospitality Management, again 4-year program, and you go on to do the master's program. And the same is the case with the tourism, digital marketing, the events, or the sports and leisure program. We do offer a couple of level 7 programs in the school also. And just to show you very briefly how you might progress from level 7 to level 8 and perhaps to level 9 to the master's program. So from the level 7 programs, I beg your pardon, you move on to the final year of a level 8 program, and upon successful completion, then you may decide to do a master's program. What happens is that all of the level 8 programs, the 4-year programs, also have built-in exit awards. Very few students, mostly for personal reasons or otherwise, choose to go for an exit award. So if some students don't want to finish the entire 4 years, they can exit also after 3 years. So that's built into the programs. But as I said, that happens very, very rarely, but it is there also. And equally so for the students on level 7 programs, the 3-year programs. If you want to progress, you can take a break, or you can continue immediately after you complete your level 7 program. The choice is yours. Once you have a program under your belt, nobody can take that from you. Okay, right? Let's just move on very briefly to the CEO points. And I don't want to read out the different points, because look, you can look them up, and they go. You can use this as a guideline. Obviously, the presentation will be available to you afterwards. But what is important to note is that the points that you might see that are published on the CEO, they're not a true indicator of the type of students we get, right? Because you can see here that, for instance, again, some of the programs, the average points are quite high. For instance, if you look at the very bottom, the level 7 program that we offer out in Tala, it was all qualified applicants, but the midpoint, so the sort of the normal average student that came in had 378 points, which is actually quite high. So we're attracting very, very highly qualified students through the CEO onto our programs, right? So again, let this just be a guideline for you. There's also different routes, as I'll cover later with you. We take students in through various different routes onto our programs. Now, from just focusing very briefly on the leaving certificate, for the level 8, the minimum requirement is 6 subjects, and 2, you would need the H5 level. Okay. Now, you do need a minimum grade in maths, and or like you need English and or Irish. For the level 7 programs, then it's minimum 5 subjects. You also need English, maths, and Irish, but at a lower level compared to the level 8 program. But the entry requirements are not very onerous from that point of view. And even though our programs, and I get to this in a little minute, is even though those programs are business and management focused, we started all of the subjects that we teach to students at level 0. So we bring students up slowly but surely. So you don't need to have studied business management or accounting or anything like that before. We bring students all the ways up to where they need to be. All right. So I know Linda already focused on different access routes, but just to emphasize that we do take quite a number of students through the QQI level 5s. We also take a lot of mature students, and in fact we offer all of the mature students that apply onto our programs. And we also take a lot of students as advanced entry students straight into the second year of our program also. So there's various different access routes that you may wish to join. Just focusing briefly on tourism. Within the tourism is a very broad area. It focuses on culture, on heritage, on travel, on airlines. So it's super broad. So the level 7, as we mentioned, it's operationally focused, with various different modules in tourism policy and service operations, heritage, culture, sustainability. Of course, the placement is there. It's also a language option. The tourism digital marketing program focuses more on business management, but with a very distinct digital slant. So a lot of the students might end up working in the social media departments of organizations, or they work with online travel agencies and things like that, or Airbnb and various different companies like that. So it's a very, very broad scope for tourism and tourism digital marketing. Okay, let me move on just to event management. So event management, you see pictures here. It's event management. The program covers every single aspect possibly that you could find in managing events, from designing the event to generating sponsorship, to raising funding, to ensuring sustainability and health and safety and things like that. All of the students on the program also take an operational module in year 1, where they work on various different types of events and have to develop a portfolio of different events which they worked on. Students also create their own events as part of the program, which then other students in the public can attend, which is very exciting. And equally so, those students have an opportunity to go on to Erasmus and also do an internship. Yeah. And the events industry is super broad. The students end up working various different aspects, as I mentioned, whether it's health and safety, whether it's in social media, whether it's in marketing events, whether it's in events operations. It's a very broad program, but there's many jobs, as the event industry, as is the tourism industry, is very rapidly expanding. And people love going to events, so clearly there's a distinct need for our students to find jobs and make a career out of it. So students are very happy with the what the events program has to offer, obviously. So with the hospitality industry, it's again a super broad industry. So I would like to think I would like you to think far beyond hotels and restaurants. There's resorts, there's casinos, there's cruise ships. It's a very broad industry. Actually, in fact, some of our graduates have gone working in hospitals. Would you believe it? Because a hospital is not unlike a hotel, except that the customers are ill, obviously. But the sort of the service element of it, they're quite similar. And many of our students also go into various aspects of catering, company catering work, and working for large banks, for instance. So there's huge scope in the hospitality industry, and like the other industries, like the tourism and events industry, it's clearly very, very international. And hotels are opening up new properties all over the world, mainly in the Middle East, Asia, but of course also in Europe and South America and United States. So like some student comments here on the slide, I'm not going to read them out to you. You can watch them later if you want. So just focusing briefly also on our sports and leisure management program. As the name suggests, it's all about managing sports activities and leisure activities, including wellness, but also looking after children in sport and looking after the older generation and how they might engage with leisure activities. So it's a very, very broad aspect of that. And the focus is really on how students might end up managing sports facilities, or might end up managing sports clubs, or how they can help other people to become more active in their lives. Some students then go on to further study in different areas, whether it's physiotherapy and other things that they could be doing, right? Our students across the board, they engage in lots of different business games that occur in Ireland, but also abroad. So we also send some student groups abroad to participate in business games, where they compete against other schools similar to our own. And I'm glad to say we have very frequently won different prizes and awards. And our graduates also tend to shine in various different types of business awards once they've graduated. So I think as a school, we're very privileged to have such excellent graduates, which we can find all over the world. And so I suppose just to mention here that there's various different ways in which you can contact us at any time. We always will reply to you, and we'll reply to all of your queries. There's a QR code there where you can get onto our school web pages. And also equally so, here's some of the QR codes. Again, will bring you to each of the QR codes. Will bring you to the respective program information pages and all of that. But I've mentioned a lot of things, but I'm sure I've forgot to mention one or two things. So I might hand over to my colleague Peter here at this stage to see and fill in some of the bits and pieces that I may have forgotten to mention.
Thanks very much, Ralph. I suppose one of the things I would just reinforce is all of the programs we have are strong business programs. So if you look through the detail, you'll find they're very, very similar in many ways to programs you might take in, say, the Faculty of Business, but they also add that specialism, that little bit of extra knowledge associated with the particular area. So I like to think of them as sort of service management programs plus. And maybe what I might do is give you an idea of what graduates are doing now. So I have just gone through my own LinkedIn profile to see graduates who we would have connected with while they were students and going on placements, and just see the kinds of things they're doing. And I've split them into maybe early career, the first few years, and then mid-career, maybe 10 years on, and seeing what they're doing. So to give you an example, the duty manager at a Clayton Hotel, at Event and Skills Net executive of the Restaurants Association, head of business sales and operations at DB Sports, creative project producer and an artist manager. We have people involved with pilot recruitment in Ryanair, a professional tennis coach and club manager, and they're all people who are out only a few years. And then maybe a little bit further on, a marketing manager at Eurostar Conferences, facility operations manager at UCD Sports and Fitness. So it's interesting that the university sports and fitness environments in other universities are usually run by graduates of our programs. And I would note as well that the program director of the UCD BSc in Sports and Exercise Management is a graduate of the program in TU Dublin. But there are various other roles that are involved with. The general manager at Ashford Castle, one of the finest properties we have in the country, is a graduate of our program. And indeed, the CEO, or Ord Stewart of Camogie Ireland, is also a graduate. And you're thinking, well, that's an awful lot of people involved in activities that are to do with the industry. But let me tell you about some of the areas they're in that are not to do with the industry, because one of the attractions of taking the programs we do is because they're so customer serviced and customer service focused, like anything to do with hospitality or tourism or events is to do with customer services, then the graduates are attractive to many other areas. And we have people working in financial services, derivatives and insurance. We've people who have gone on to be university lecturers, and in fact many of the lecturers in other universities around the country in these areas are graduates of our programs. Search optimization specialists with TikTok, excuse me, chartered accountants, social media account executives, working in the public service and indeed in TU Dublin in administration, and primary and secondary teachers. So people don't think of it as a route to that, but a lot of our graduates do end up doing things like that. They may spend a few years in the sector and then they move on. And then in terms of they're the early career graduates, in terms of the later stages, we have people who, for example, are company directors, marketing managers, senior privacy governance manager at Twilio, head of procurement for Bord Gáis, a partner at Ernst & Young, that's one of the largest big four accounting and consulting companies, regional logistics managers in Lidl and senior facilities managers at Lidl. These are really well-paying roles, and indeed senior public service roles. And there's even a vice president of operational risk at BlackRock, which is one of the largest companies in the world, a graduate of our program here. We've also had graduates who have been, for example, the most recent chief executive of the IDA was a graduate of hospitality management, as indeed was the chief executive of the air regulatory authority in the country. So you can see lots of different roles, all coming from people who've studied in the areas that we're looking at here. So I think that probably captures a lot of what we wanted there, Ralph.
Yeah, super. Thank you so much. I might stop sharing and then we'll hand it back over to Linda. So thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks a million. I think that was a great presentation there. And just to pick up on two of your points there, Ralph, as we went through the presentation, one of the key things that I would mention about all of the programs in this area is, as Peter said, a huge volume of business subjects, very transferable skills, and a lot of very successful students, as we can hear from some of the careers that you've just pulled out. But also, Ralph, I thought that was a really good point that you raised about the points for the programme. I always say to students, be very cautious about picking something by the points. You know, sometimes when there's a lot of places on something, you know, the points will come down because we're offering the program to a lot of students. But what I will say is that you need to look at the points range. And a lot of the students, you know, we have students coming in on 500 points as the first student. That the bottom point is the set of points is the student that came in the door last. So everybody is above that, you know, and there could be 200 and 300 points above that. So always pick a course by actually what you want to do as opposed to what the points are. I mean, you really need to think about what you love, and judging by some of the careers that you have just mentioned there, Ralph, I think there are lots of very nice opportunities to work in the industry, you know, and it's a very nice industry to work in. I've worked in the hospitality industry myself many years ago, and obviously then I'm using the skills elsewhere here. So guys, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our students on now. So I'd like to invite the students of some of the programs on there. So guys, could you knock your cameras on there, please, if you don't mind? We're going to have a little chat to the students. We have a couple of students from the various different programs in TU Dublin. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start off with Edward. Okay, so Edward, if you'd like to turn your microphone on there.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell us, Edward, a little bit about the program that you're studying and what year you're in.
My name's Edward. I'm in the second year of event management. Basically, it's all things to do with events. You learn the business side of it, but also what you actually do in the field. And I feel like it covers a lot more than you think, because I came into first year thinking, oh, this is just going to be management and events, but it's actually not, because we do accounting and economics and PR. So it covers a large selection of stuff, not just management.
Not just the management. And why do you think, Edward, you chose that program over other courses in other universities?
I actually wasn't sure. I picked it at random, to be honest, because I really didn't know what I wanted to do back when I was doing my leaving cert, but it ended up being a really good choice. It's kind of helping me guide my career, especially with all the experience I'm getting. I know I won't stay in events, but it'll be something close to events.
Yeah, further on.
It's helping me form my connections, because through events I get to talk to so many people, then I get to know them and talk to the people they know. So it's helping me form my future.
So I think that's a really key thing, like to be in a program that's very versatile and that really suits you in terms of what you'll do in the future. because a lot of students will go into their immediate, what they've studied, they'll go into that area immediately, but they might move on from that further along. And all the research leads to younger people now having at least 10 jobs. 10 different jobs. So in TU Dublin, we're preparing you for that by offering like a variety of modules. And as Ralph said, we've a very structured set of modules working into the speciality then. So events is a really nice one where you get to be out there a lot. And, there's a lot of work behind events, a lot of planning, and you need to be quite on top of things. So what do you think that you'll want to do after you move on, or are you not sure?
I'm still not sure. I just want to see where it brings me, especially after next year, because I'm in second year. After my work placement, I'll kind of probably have it figured out more.
Yeah, okay. And you said that when you were doing your leaving cert, you were quite undecided. I think a lot of students are like that. What advice would you give to students now, considering you kind of picked something and you weren't kind of sure, now that they have time to decide? What advice would you be giving them?
I think even if you don't want to stay in your course, it's okay to change your course. Even if I personally didn't do it, I know there's a lot of people who did end up changing their course even halfway through the year. So don't be scared of not doing something you don't like, because there's always that possibility of being able to change your course.
But I think as well, Edward, the fact that the students have a little bit of time to prep now between, like, we just opened the Change of Mind there the other day.
Yeah.
So they have a little bit of time. So being at webinars like this, for example, is a good way to kind of get a feel for what you like. But also, that we have our career service from the university that is also there to kind of give you that bit of assistance when you come in. What would be your favorite thing about campus life? Whereabouts are you based, Edward? Is it on
in Grange Gorman?
You're on Grange Gorman. So what would you say is your favorite thing about campus life?
Just really open, like, especially with the classes that we have a lot of breaks, so we kind of have time in between to do what we want, like with my friends from the course and outside of the course even. I just have time to do stuff. So
you're enjoying that element of it, just socializing with the different
You have
students.
a lot of free time to do different things as well as your coursework. So I feel like there's not much pressure on you.
Okay, and you're enjoying that. You've time to kind of manage your workload, etc.
Yeah, because I have time to go to work as well as do my college work and see people, which I think is beneficial, because I can balance everything without stressing that I'm not doing my college work, or I don't have enough money, or I'm not seeing my friends.
Okay. And I think that's quite important for students when they're considering what type of a program that they want to study, because many of the students that are even on the webinar today might say, well, I have to work part-time. So, they need to be able to balance their academic piece with their work and their lifestyle as well. So it's good that you have little breaks to do your study and maybe catch up with your friends and stuff. So, what would you say, Edward, would be your best piece of advice to students now coming into college next year who are a little bit undecided but really excited about coming to university?
It's not like secondary school. You're really independent. So you kind of have to push yourself to do your work. Because I remember in first year, kind of let some of the bits fall to the end. And I was like, I'm not going to let that happen in second semester. So do your work when it's meant to be done, because the lectures aren't going to be like, do your work. You're just going to end up failing yourself. So that's the biggest difference, I think, from secondary school, that you're very independent and you kind of have to motivate yourself without anyone pushing you from behind.
I think that's a really good piece of advice. Like, what students don't understand is it's a 12-week semester from when they start to when they're sitting their exams, and it really goes by in a flash. People think you come in the door in September, I have plenty of time to do this, that.
It's not that long. It really doesn't feel like 12 weeks, especially the second semester usually flies by, depending when Easter falls. For example, this year felt really short.
Really short, yeah.
Yeah.
So your advice is to do your assignments and get them planned and scheduled as soon as they come in.
Yeah, just even chip away at it over weeks. That's what I do now. I kind of just make my plan at the start, then I add stuff not even every day, every week. I just add a paragraph or something, because in reality, 1,500 words for an essay isn't that much if it's done over the space of 5 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's a hugely important tip for students coming into university is to just keep on top of your work. So thank you very much, Edward.
No worries.
I'm actually going to move to Harry now. So Harry, thanks for coming on the call with us. Can you tell us a little bit about the course that you're studying, and what year you're in?
I'm in tourism and digital marketing, and I'm in third year. So, yeah, a bit more about the course. So we do a lot of different things with it. So you do obviously all the tourism, then the digital marketing, but there's also, like Edward said, you do like accounting, you do like different digital things. You learn how to do Excel and Word and stuff like this. And I chose it because it gave me the opportunity to do Erasmus and an internship.
Okay.
And I didn't do, so Erasmus is in second year and internship is in third year, and I missed the deadline for the Erasmus last year, but that meant this year I was like, I want to do that, so I'm currently doing my internship in France now.
Okay, amazing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the company that you're doing your internship with and how you're enjoying France?
France is lovely. It's a lot sunnier than Ireland, which is always a benefit. I'm with Riviera Bar Crawl and Tours, but it's kind of a two-set company. So the part I work for is like walking tours. So currently I'm doing walking tours in Nice and in Cannes, but then I'm also learning the walking tour for Monaco as well, which is pretty cool. And then I do like operations, I do marketing, I do bar crawls, which are quite fun.
Great.
People go, how are you doing that for college? I'm like, I don't know. So it's quite fun. And then there's the other side, so that they do like events and stuff. So like boat parties, engagements, and I don't really go to that side, but they kind of like I do some of the marketing and stuff for them, so it's quite fun.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're really getting an all-round experience within that internship, just in terms of the tourism element and the digital marketing element there. How do you think that's gonna work for you now going into your final year and having to write things like dissertations and stuff like that?
One thing, like, so in Ireland, I'm based in Dublin with my parents, and then like my college is in Dublin, so I still live with them, especially because the pricing in Dublin is so I'm living by myself over here, so like I've had to start to like deal with things myself, like making sure I rent on time, because I'm normally brutal at getting things in on time. So like I'm getting like time management much better. I've like they give me tasks I need to complete each week, so I need to make sure I do them, and all of this. So like it's making me have more skills to be able to do stuff when I go back to college and then after college as well.
Yeah. So you really are getting the all-round experience, and appreciating your parents. So, I suppose that's one of the key elements of starting college as well. And just to refer back to what Edward said, coming in and getting all of your work done and planning it, because nobody is standing behind you saying you need to have this done. You're an adult now. And Edward's very much referring to the academic side of it, but you're also thinking about, the personal side of it. If you are like, so some of our students on the call may be moving away from home to start in first year. So there is that learning experience as well, about kind of looking after yourself, and definitely the internship. Not only are you employed to do all of that work, but you're also gaining a lot of life experience as well. And I suppose what will happen for you perhaps in your final year is you'll be bringing in, your practical experience that you're learning this year, and then all the academic experience together for your final year. So you seem to be really enjoying it, Harry.
I'm having a ball.
Having a ball. Yeah, I haven't really met many students on Erasmus or placement who were off on another country who weren't having a ball. So that's great, and it's great that you're getting that experience. So what piece of advice would you give to any of the students on the call today?
Don't stress about not knowing what you want to do, because like when I first went into secondary school, I'd look at like the people who are in sixth year and I'd be like, oh, they have their lives together. I was like, they know they're going to get married in 2 years, like they're going to have children in 3. I'm now at the age that I'm saying I was having children. There's no chance I'm having a child. Never mind knowing what I'm going to do in my life. So like I went into this course having no clue about anything, and I was like, I like to travel and I like marketing. So I was like, that works quite well.
Yeah.
But like I still don't know what I want to do after. I know I still want to travel and I know I still like marketing, but I'm still clueless, but just enjoying life. So
yeah, and you're going to have a great degree then to kind of back up all of that, a flexible degree that's going to allow you to travel, which is what it sounds like you want to do. So that's fantastic. So thanks very much, Harry. Great to hear from you. So I'm going to move to Miro now. So Miro, thanks for coming on the call this evening. So I want to ask you a little bit about student life, Miro. So we were having a little bit of a discussion earlier on, and you were saying to me that you tried surfing here in TU Dublin. So how did you get involved in like the social scene here?
Yeah, so when you get to university, the student council and everything, they tell you about different clubs, different societies that there are in the university. And I was very, very interested in surfing. I never did it before TU Dublin, but I just joined it and went to a couple of meetings, a couple of swims that they actually do in Dublin. And I met so many amazing people that they basically organized different tours. And we all together, all those 30 people, went on a trip to Western Ireland and did surfing there for 3 days, which was an incredible experience. People that I still talk to today, some international students, an incredible experience, genuinely. I'm also part of another society of Erasmus Student Network, which is an incredible opportunity to also meet international students from all over the world. It's also open to Irish students, and for me, as an international student, for me, it was an incredible opportunity to meet people from everywhere and just have a blast.
Yeah, sounds great. Miro, sorry, I didn't ask you, what course is it that you're studying?
I'm studying event management. I'm the first year student.
Event management first year. So you're not from Ireland. So tell us a little bit about how you chose this program.
So I'm actually a university dropout. Last year I was studying engineering in Switzerland. I'm from Switzerland. Okay. And basically that experience didn't really work out for me, but it was such a great experience because that was the time when I actually found out what I wanted to do.
Fantastic.
Since basically in my last university, I had the opportunity to volunteer at different events that were organized either on campus or in the city, which basically prompted me to the idea that actually I can study there. So I looked it up where I can study in different countries, and I found TU Dublin, which is the only university in Ireland that actually gives you the opportunity to get actual practical experience from day one. So in the first year, we do 150 hours, at least 150 hours of actual practical experience, which helps you to find so many connections, which helps you to actually understand how the event industry works and gain this amazing practical experience. It's something that is not offered anywhere else. And that's why I chose this course.
Okay, great. So you've come from Switzerland to Ireland to study event management. That's fantastic. And are you enjoying your program, Miro?
I love it. I love it. I do not regret any choices I made.
You don't regret. And isn't that fantastic? And I think that's another thing that students sometimes, you know, they've gone and they've done something else and they think they failed, but they haven't. Sometimes that identifies exactly what you want to do, you know, and so many opportunities then to kind of go out and do lots of different things. When you've graduated, what are you thinking of, Miro, once you graduate? Are you hoping to go and work in the event industry?
Oh, 100%. I love the event industry, and I'm specifically interested in corporate events and in conference management. And it's something that is also provided by my course. I believe in the third year we have a specific module for corporate and conference management, which is exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay, so you're enjoying that. Okay, well, that's great that you have that decision. So you could be working on some big corporate events in the future. Amazing. I can do with some help at the open days, so I'll be giving you a call. There's some big events in TU Dublin. But I think that's a great point that you brought up there about, you know, maybe doing something and changing your mind and going after what you really want to do. And I just want to bring you back to maybe what I was mentioning about the points there a little bit earlier on. and about, you know, people sometimes thinking they have to choose things because of the points or because of whatever. Guys, you choose things with your heart, something that you want to do, because ultimately many students will tell me, and a lot of the academic staff will tell me, and I, you know, even I know myself, like if you're doing something that you really enjoy, you'll be good at it. You'll never work a day in your life. You'll be happy in your work, and you'll excel in your work as well. So it sounds like you've really found what you want to do, Mira. So thanks very much. What piece of advice would you give to some of the students on here this evening?
My only piece of advice is when you get to university, talk to as many people as you can. Meet everybody, be interested in everybody, because you never know who you're going to meet and what opportunities, those connections, those people that you're interested in are going to give you in the future.
Exactly. I think that's a great piece of advice, and you know, to have that experience with the surf club and with some of the other the friends that you've made there, I think that's a great piece of advice as well for people coming into college this September. You know, there'll be loads of people in your class and you can get to know those, but the people that really like your thing are going to be at those clubs. So definitely join some of those. So thanks very much, Miro. We're going to move to yourself now, Dua. So Dua, can you tell us what course you're studying and what year you're in, please?
Hi, my name is Dua Riba Sayed, and I'm doing tourism management, and I'm in third year. Our course is mainly business subjects, and we did work placement in second year, and I did my work placement in the Wax Museum in Dublin city centre, and it was a great experience.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
So you did your work experience in the Wax Museum. So maybe tell us a little bit about what that was like.
So I did was take photos of customers in front of the green screen. Then did VR experiences with the customers in the science section, and then we did work in the shop where we worked at the cash register, and then sold items and make wax ends for the customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got lots of customer service experience then, and dealing with the customer one-to-one, I suppose, which is great experience for anybody who's going to work in the hospitality industry. And for a lot of employers, they really want people who have a good customer service, good customer service skills. So how did you find that experience overall, Dua?
It was a great experience. I got to meet people from all over the world. They were also doing work experience in the Wax Museum.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
great. So you got to meet a lot of people from all over the world and make a lot of friends.
Yes.
Okay. So that was last year, was it, Dua?
Yes.
And what are you doing now this year?
This is my final year, and then I'm going to apply for jobs in Dublin airport or in hotels.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're in your final year now, so are you just back to college in general, or are you doing any more placement?
No placement at the moment.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're just working on your final, you're doing your final exams this summer, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you feel about that?
I'm a little scared, but we will get over it soon.
Yeah. And you've enjoyed your time at TU Dublin?
Yes, it was very amazing.
You would enjoy it. And why did you choose TU Dublin, Dua?
Because I got a booklet at school about TU Dublin, and there were many amazing courses. I also did engineering 3 years ago, but I didn't like the course. It was a little hard. So I moved to tourism management. So this is my final year now.
And you've really enjoyed that, and I think that's fascinating to see, like that's really nearly on the opposite side of the scale, moving from something like engineering to something like tourism. But you liked working with people, and you're hoping to go now and either work in Dublin Airport or in a big hotel. Is that what you said there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. And I know Dublin Airport is probably expanding by the day at the moment. It's very busy, and we've lots of hotels here in Ireland. So what are you hoping to do maybe within the airport or within those hotels?
Work in operations,
Okay,
as in operation management.
okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So you want to work in the operations area. Okay, so you'll be dealing with customers a lot of the time. Okay, that's great. Well, thanks very much, and the
Thank you.
best of luck now with your final exams. It's quite difficult, but
Yeah.
you know, it'll be worth it anyway, and you're almost there at the finish line. So congratulations. So our last student then, and we'll just move to Michelle very quickly. Michelle, how are you? Michelle, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Okay, hello to everyone in different places where we all. My name is Michelle, and I am currently studying International Hospitality and Tourism Management. I am second year, and why did I choose this course is because it's not just about the tourism, it's also about the hospitality and restaurant and gastronomy, and the most important about to know the good thing about traveling all around the world. So that's why I choose this course.
Okay, so you're currently abroad at the moment doing your Erasmus year, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I am in Paris, in France, and I already finished my Erasmus this week. It was at the Ferrandi University about hospitality management.
Excellent. And how have you found that year studying abroad in a different university?
Very interesting. My French wasn't that good at the beginning, so that was the challenge for me because most of my classes were in French. But I didn't give up, so that motivates me to study more French and to push myself. And now I am very confident with the language, thankfully. So
Okay.
it was the challenge, but very good. I enjoy it a lot, and as Harry say, very sunny days compared to Dublin. And yeah, and the most important was to be friendly with everyone because Parisian people have that famous comment about that they are very tough compared to the Irish people, for example. But I think it depends on your personality and to be with them as well. So yeah,
So you've enjoyed that year, and really it was about building the fluency for you in your language. Was that it?
yeah, yeah. English is not my native language, as you can see.
Okay.
I my native language is Spanish, so it's still a challenge for me to have a mix of languages. Four languages inside my head is quite
Well, you did
difficult.
really well.
Thank you so much. And I think that's the advice that I will give to everyone. It doesn't matter if you can communicate in a language that is needed, but I think your charisma and your personality is going to open many doors for you. And it wouldn't matter if you can be able or not to express yourself in that language, but the most important is to be kind and friendly at all the times.
Yeah, and I think that's the perfect personality traits for people who want to work in tourism and hospitality, that they're kind and friendly. And I know people appreciate that, and that's what they look for in people working in those areas. So you've already said what piece of advice that you would give to students. Would another advice be just piece of advice to get out of your comfort zone maybe and do something that's hard or difficult or different as you have done?
Yes, now our generation is very complicated compared to other generations. So I think everyone got this text at some point when you are getting in your 20s. You don't know what you want to do for real, even though if you finish a career or are going to start a career. So I think it's just about to take a breath and to think about what would you like to do and to try. You will never lose anything by trying because at the end you will never know if you like it or not by trying. So
Exactly. I think that's great advice, Michelle, and you sound like a brave girl coming from Spain to study in somewhere that speaks Spanish to study English, and now you're studying French. So well done to you, and I hope that you've enjoyed your year. So I'm just going to open up our chat there if anybody wants to ask any questions. We are slightly over the time, but just if anybody wants to ask any questions of any of the students. And I suppose just to really sum up our webinar of today, I mean, there's lots of different opportunities in the area of tourism, hospitality, events, leisure as well. And I think what the students have displayed here and what my colleagues from the school have also talked about is how flexible all of these degrees are. Okay, I think that's really, really important for people to understand. It was great to hear about some of our past students, our alumni, and the types of careers that they have now, some of our current students and the advice and the different pieces of information that you have from them. And of course, the CAO is reopened now for change of mind. So if you've heard anything on here that you're interested in and that you would like to apply for, you can go on to the CAO now and you can add any of those programs to your CAO form. Or the ones that Ralph had just up there earlier, he had that list. Ralph, if you want to put that up again, that would be fantastic. And guys, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact the admissions team, admissions@tudublin.ie. We can also put you in contact with Ralph or with Peter or with any of the academic staff just in relation to any questions or queries that you may have in relation to your program. So David has just put that up there. I know he's put in a number of links across the webinar just so that you can have a look at the different programs which are there. So I'd like to thank everybody for coming online with us this evening, and I'd like to thank everybody, all of our students and my colleagues from the schools from coming on this evening. And we hope to see some of you students again in September. So thanks very much, guys.